Hello, everybody. It is Sunday, the 24th of September, and I want to talk about the left and the right hand path and how to combine those two so that they are no longer masters that are standing separate and opposing each other, but that we can be both, and we are both, and we can be both, so that we do not have to make a choice of going all the way one way or all the way the other, because that is how we're being divided. So just from the very beginning, let me make very clear, when I talk about the left-hand path, that I'm not talking about the occult, witchcraft, Satanism, anything like that. I don't. Yeah? In fact, I think these things are there to deceive people and to lead them back onto the right-hand path when they are trying to get out of it. So let me explain. The right-hand path is the path of obedience, is the path of denial of self, is the path of becoming of complete service to one. Yeah? Without doubt, without the serpent biting you. Yeah? Just tunnel vision on the one and do according to that. That's the path to the right. And that is the path that Jesus went on. Yeah? For myself, I ask nothing. I only say what I'm told to say. The Father and I are one. And myself is gone. That is the path to the right. Now, if you get out, if there's doubt, maybe about the outcome, about the intention, or what it is you're actually doing, and you wake up in that heaven of inclusiveness and unity, and everybody is the same, and everybody does the same thing, and everybody thinks the same thing, and we are one. So if you wake up in that heaven and you get out, you're being led toward do the opposite. I mean, literally the opposite. Yeah, hang the cross upside down, you're changing the chants, you're changing your costume, and after a while you wake up again and think, well, nothing has really changed. That is because for you, nothing has changed. You're still in the same position. You're still following A1. You're doing the same thing. And for you, the outcome does not change. So that is not what I'm talking about. So again, the path to the right, that is what that is. And if unity through coming into agreement on something and doing according to that. Yeah? And everything you think and you say must serve the outcome, which the intention, which is in the Bible the Lord God. In this world, and everything that is not in full agreement with what it is you're doing will get cancelled, will get chucked out of that heaven. That is the right-hand path. And that is exactly what's happening in this world at the moment. And those that shout unity, we are one, we are all one, we are completely inclusive, and they are the most inclusive people you can come up against. They are the ones that go up against everything else and will cancel everybody else. That is because they're inclusive only as long as you think like us, as you do like us, you follow our path. For instance, climate change. Yeah? We are going toward an outcome. We're going toward outcome of net zero. And everybody that is not on our path will get cancelled. Yeah, I heard nearly all of us say that the whole thing feels kind of religious. That's because it is. That is the path of religion. It's the right-hand path. Yeah, it takes different forms. It gives you different intentions, but the way it is being worked is always the same. And you always must be a slave inside of that. You can't have no thoughts of yourself. You can't have no doubt, or you get chucked out. Now, the path to the left is the path of self, and that is basically where you think for yourself. And you think, what do I think about that? How do I feel about that? You gather information outside of the information that you are being given on the right-hand path, because, they will only allow that in which serves, that which brings you to the outcome. Facts have to be according to what serves the outcome. Whereas on the left-hand path, you're free to look at different things and decide for yourself what is right and what is wrong. Now, many would describe this path as being selfish. And to be quite honest, if you go again all the way, if that path becomes your master, what do I think? What do I, according to myself, it will turn you into a narcissist in the end. If you stay on that path, just on that path. The right will take you to a completely mindless slave. The left will take you to become a narcissist. So again, you need to find some way, a middle. You need to find a middle ground where you do not become one extreme or the other. Now, to many that have gone out, so to say, they left heaven, they left the unity of a political way, of a religion, of a church. If God calls you, that's what people say, the first thing he does is he will detach you from everything. He will detach you from your family, from your friends. He will take you into the wilderness, because that is the natural system that you're in. And he will take you into the wilderness, and then he will give you a new purpose to serve his intention. Yeah? And then you go onto the right-hand path, and you become that slave. Unless you realize, first of all, you must realize what you are. Knowledge of self is the first thing. And what I have realized is what I perceive as I am, as me, is actually many parts. I'm not just one thing. I'm a mother, I'm a wife, I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm still a daughter to somebody. And that those personas are actually made out of and fed by the interaction with others. They receive energy of others. The persona of the mother is energized by the interaction, through the interaction with the child. The persona of the wife is energized, stays in being as long as there's a husband with whom you interact. The persona of a friend, the same. So that is who you are. And there's where you receive the energy that sustains what you are. You've been taken out of that. You've been taken out of that, which is a natural flow of energy, a natural creation of yourself. And you're being created in the image of a God, which is an intention. You're being driven onto the right-hand path. You become the image of an intention, the image of the servant to that intention. And all your energy is focused on one, on one outcome, on one thing. Now, God, you think you're on the right-hand path because you are now in unity with everybody else. Yeah, you have found a home, everybody thinks the same, everybody wants the same. We have become one. We are on the right-hand path. Whereas in fact you are on a left-hand path, it's just not yours. You're on somebody else's left-hand path. Somebody at the top has got an intention for himself. And you have now become the working parts in that intention. Amongst yourselves, you may think, yeah, this is great. We're all one. We're all so connected to one another. We are on the right-hand path. No, you're following somebody else's left-hand path. You're being dragged behind his intention. And you're following blindly. Again, on the left-hand path, if you become a complete psychopath, that is, you really detached from everything. You've gone too far. But see where your real attachments actually are. And then you see that the left-hand path of self is actually the path of love. Or should be the path of love, of true love. For those that are around you that create you. And by giving to them, you're giving to yourself. And by doing against them, you're doing against yourself. And there is the true oneness, which is made out of many parts. Now again, switching back to the right has obviously, or the one that is at the top of the right has obviously realized that one cannot be all. That realization was there. God in the Bible is not omnipresent and omnipotent. He couldn't find Adam and Eve in his own garden. So he needs others. He needs a garden of knowledge. He needs others to give to him. So he also needs others. But, as I say, that is the way. Tell them, make them in the image of an intention. Bring them together, make them one to serve the intention. The intention itself is on a left-hand path for myself. But everybody else follows on. And that's again what Jesus did. The knowledge was born out of him. He got an enlightened knowledge on the left-hand path by no longer being within the law of what was going on around him in Judaism or whatever that was at the time. But as soon as he had the knowledge, he went onto a right-hand path that must serve an intention. Again, the intention of the Lord of the Bible, who wants to have dominion over everything else, which is a left-hand narcissist. So how do we combine the two? That we are not being dragged one way or the other, and those ways become our masters and create us in the end. Because they will. Either you become a complete narcissist at the top, or you become a slave. Now, I've seen again in the Bible, because, and here we come, we want to go the way of performing miracles, which I think is completely possible. We can, with our energy, affect this reality. I believe that to be absolutely possible. And it says quite clearly that in order to do this, there needs to be a oneness, a unity of at least two or more in my name. In the name of the Father, which is the name of the intention. God is the intention. So 2 or more coming into agreement about an outcome, yeah, and believing on that outcome and being given. So now I had this thing where I was out in my garden and a question came to me, yeah, and the question was, if you were asked to do something that you did not agree with, would you do it? And my snap answer at that moment was no, I would not. If it against my conscience, I would not do it. Again, the left is the way of conscience. And again, if you know that your conscience is actually made out of the connection of those around you, they form part of your conscience. You know them. Their energy flows into you. They become part of your conscience. So you're not just one. But as I said, I would not. And then after I thought about it for a while, I thought, you know what? No, I would not. Absolutely, I would not. I couldn't. But, if you go your way and do what you think is right, and it turns out it was right, yeah, and my objection was actually wrong, I would be the first to congratulate you. And I would join you again, and I would help you on that path, and I would admit my mistake. I would. If you went your way and created something and I was right to start with, the whole thing ends up in a disaster, yeah? Then I would be the first one there to help you to set it right. I would not stand there and smoke judgment, saying, I told you so. And that's all I'm doing. No, I would be there to help you, because I know that I myself can make mistakes. So that would be my path. But being asked in the first instance, not against my conscience, no. And here I thought that if, in order to create a miracle, people have to come into full agreement, then my energy should not actually be there if I'm not, because I would prevent, I would work against it, unless, again, I completely change myself so that I can come into agreement. But should I do that? Or should I just not be there? Let those that are in agreement come together and let them do what they're doing. Create an outcome and then see where we're at. Stand back, become a watcher at that moment. So I've seen in the Bible, like at Pentecost, where the 120 came together in one room and they were in agreement about one thing. And when I see the outcome, that they came out and they all could speak other languages, folks, they weren't talking gobbledygook. They could speak other languages. They had the knowledge of languages, because that is what they gave to each other in that room. They were all Jews, but they were different nationalities. They spoke different languages, and they gave that knowledge to one another. And here is really the Tower of Babel. And what God said, if man is as one, nothing will be prevented him. Yeah? So there they kind of reversed what happened at the Tower of Babel. They gave the knowledge of the languages to each other again. They became one, and it was given. They weren't prevented because, they had become one. Another example of where Jesus resurrected that little girl, and there were many in the house that were not believing, that were making fun of him. They were really negative energy, and he threw them out of the house, the whole lot of them. So that the only ones that were left were those that were in agreement, and that they were one in their intention and in their belief on the outcome. There was Jesus, one or two disciples, I can't remember at the moment, and the parents of the girl. So there were 4 or 5 that were in agreement on one outcome. And again, they weren't prevented. they had become one and they were given. But those are small groups. They're not the entire world. They are small groups that come together on a specific intention. Yeah? And they become one. And again, what Jesus did, those that were not with him, he threw them out for that occasion. They couldn't be there. Well, that's fine. Don't be there. But the thing is, if you are agreed, come together on one intention, which is actually what the right-hand path is doing at the moment. We're going to net zero. It's idiotic, but they are one on the one intention. So once that intention is reached, that is to say, what you had desired to bring into reality has become a reality, then there is actually no longer any need for that unity to exist, because it has achieved its goal. So really, that unity can then disperse again. And then we would be free. See, if we were part of that unity at that point, we can disperse and we can bring our knowledge and what we know as right and wrong to another group, to another intention. And join, I am in full agreement with you. I can bring my energy to your intention that you have now. I can become a part of that. We bring about another outcome. Once it's there, we deal with what we have just brought into this world. But and that is where you're combining the two ways. You have the knowledge of self, you have your own conscience, you have your own energy, you can bring it to this task or that task and that task, and you never join one group forever. You will not be in that group forever. And then whatever that group does after that, you must do it as well, because you've joined that group. Because you may have been in agreement on that point what they were doing then, but the next step, you may no longer be in agreement, and then you must be with them. And that is the wrong way forever. Forever is the wrong way. One thing and forever. And again, that is religion for you. One thing and forever. Now, one way, and that again, it's what's happening in this world at the moment. One way where you can capture people forever is to set a task that cannot be fulfilled. There is never going to be an end to it. You will be there trying forever, again and again, and it will never happen. Like the whole world coming into agreement to be ruled over by one is never going to happen. But it will forever bring people in and enslave them. And they might go into that heaven, after death. And they may come back with orders to try again, build back better. And they will forever be in that heaven, and they will forever be in that cycle, because it cannot be achieved. So there's one way to eternal life. Set yourself a goal that cannot be achieved, and be at that forever. But I don't know if such a heaven exists, or if such a heaven should exist on earth, where you are free to give your energy to one task. Once the task is fulfilled, the group disperses, and you can go, you're free to go somewhere else, to take your service somewhere else. And then you would periodically be on a right-hand path with others, and then at other times you are again on the left. Be yourself, looking for another task, another meaning, another intention that you can serve. And to me, that would be the way of combining the two. And neither of them would be your master. Because the intention of self, or the reason why self exists, is to join the right-hand path. But the right-hand path is only there to create an outcome, not to enslave you forever. I could live without. I could live in a world like that, where we can come into agreement, but it doesn't have to be forever. But you're free to leave. And here's the thing, again, that is in the Bible, where you're not free to leave. You're not free to disagree. When Jesus said, bring the gospel, bring this knowledge to all, yeah? And if they don't agree with you, yeah, if they don't want to create this outcome or be part of this task, walk away, and that would be the left-hand path. Bring your knowledge, ask others to help, or and if they don't agree, walk away. For once, you don't want the energy in your task anyway, because they would work against it. And the other thing is, you do not want to oppose your will on them, because then you're again becoming the one that is creating others in the image. So if you want to be yourself, you must give the same right to others. So yeah, bring your idea, let them join or don't let them join, up to them. And that is the left-hand path. But then came the little add-on. It was Jesus, came the little add-on saying, but if they don't follow you, it will be worse for them than Sodom and Gomorrah. They will all go to hell. And there is again, be with us or go to hell. Be cancelled. And there again, we've created a right-hand path with one at the top, who is on the left, is for himself, according to himself, and everybody else must follow blindly or they will go to hell. And that is what always happens. Learning to be able to disagree, I think, is what we really need to learn at the moment, because we've lost the ability to disagree, to just allow somebody else to have a different opinion, because we've all been sucked into this religious thinking, be with us or get cancelled. Now, last thing is, and I want to quickly say, is why do we keep coming back here? Yeah, it's the question of so many. We're going to a heaven and then we keep coming back here. Why? So out of my thinking now is there could be two reasons. One is you were ordered and you came into agreement because you are in a heaven that is serving a narcissist. And you've come into agreement to come back here to bring more knowledge. Again, is what Jesus did. He brought the knowledge. He got the knowledge from this world out of the state of separation. He gained a knowledge and he brought that back to heaven. So that might be one reason why you're coming back. You're under orders. And the other reason why you might be coming back is because you were in a heaven again that was a oneness. Everybody thinking the same, everybody doing the same, we are one. And you woke up and you thought, what the hell? And self woke up and got bitten by the serpent. And is this actually right? And that haven't chopped you out, as they do. So that might be why you're back here. Yeah? Either you're under orders or you got chucked out because you thought something for yourself. God forbid. But really, to me, to create a true heaven on earth is made out of both paths. First, the realization of self. What am I? What is my knowledge? And never forgetting those that created you, from whom your family, for your friends, from whom you get the energy. Becoming a complete oneness on just one task, asked in the name of the one task. And only those that are truly on board, that can, in their own conscience, can freely join. And once that task is fulfilled, we can spread out again and look for something else to do or deal with, as I said, what we've just created. Not forever and not on everything, but free to pick and choose. And I think that is the way. That should be the way. Anyway, I leave it at that for today, and I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.